LANFest, and hopefully we can find an event near you.
Absolutely. And, speaking of these local Seattle sponsors bringing the Washington State Scholastic Esports Association to light, we got to talk about Seattle-built PCs. They are the custom PC builders that are trusted by the pros, and since 2020, they've been crafting incredible rigs for world-famous esports players, content creators with millions of fans, and even the developers of your favorite games. Seattle Built wants to work with you to create the perfect PC for your needs, so whenever you're ready, make sure to jump on in and check them out at seattlebuilt.com. So if you're looking for a custom built PC by people who care, they are your people. And look at the little whale. I always love that guy. Super happy to have them back on the stream.
We haven't figured out a name for him yet, though. That might be something we have to do in the future, or reach out and see if we can see if the mascot has a name. But I'm excited for this one. As you mentioned, NewTech, Lincoln. I don't think I've had the pleasure of seeing them on stream just yet, so I'm excited for that. And I know we've gotten some Kings Row in the past. I'd like to see something a little bit different here tonight. I think NewTech had won the coin flip, so we are going to be starting out on Oasis. And that's about all the information I think I have at the moment.
Yeah, Oasis, though, we can talk a little bit about that map because it is one of my personal favorites. I love control points. I think that it is a map that really caters to my favorite characters. Of course, Lucio at the top of the list. Plenty of maneuverability. What I do want to see is particularly on, what is the exact name of it? The one when you're outside with the speedway they could get hit by the cars on. I want to see people use that jump pad because that's been something I've been experimenting with as of late, and it leads to some really crazy engages, really cool strategies being developed here. And really, that's what we're looking at the high school scene for, in particular. Hot Sauce, this is the place for people to strut their stuff, really expand and figure out all different aspects of the game, so that when they make that step forward into something like collegiate esports, they have all the knowledge that they need in order to forge a path forward within this wonderful realm.
Yeah, we have the city center, the gardens, and the university, and I too at times kind of get confused until I'm actually out onto the battlefield. But the launch pad allows you to get up there, get that high ground, and obviously you can rain down from above if you're able to get that good early positioning. So I think that first fight around the point once it drops is always the interesting one. If you're able to fight from the point, or at least have somebody there to maybe get that early cap and begin to pad that percentage. A lot of times I feel like the team that can kind of crack 60 first tends to have the most success, but that isn't always the case.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the maps really cater towards one big swing in the middle of the game, but if you get first control and the tempo is in your favor, in many cases, you're able to develop a pretty decent ult economy. So we're going to have to see what exactly the dynamic is going to play out as with this game. But right now, I think that we got two evenly matched teams coming on in here, ready to make a statement. And of course, this is just the first map. And what I love is we get a mini best of 3 in our further series.
Yeah, it's again, I'm not the biggest fan of control. I like the hybrid, the escort, the clash, but you're right. At least sort of minimum, I love Overwatch. So anytime that we're guaranteed more Overwatch, I'm going to be happy. Control certainly does do that. So at least you're right. We get that little mini subset to start things off and kind of see where these teams line up as far as competition across from each other. And for me, again, especially in these high school leagues, I always look forward toward the compositions. Are we playing something that's a little more meta? A lot of these brawly teams tend to have more success, or are we playing to just something that's comfortable for us? Everybody's kind of that comfortability pick, and so I feel like more than not we do get more of that comfortability side, at least in the high school area. But who knows? Time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, I do think that we are probably going to be catering towards comfort, but what I really like is that you begin to see with a lot of people a convergence of comfort and meta as time goes on, because you just feel those demands in your games, right? I hate to say it, but sometimes people being mad at you for playing something like Lucio Mercy or something else that's a bit off meta can translate into you kind of being like, you know what? Maybe I am going to try out like a Winston dive composition. Maybe I am going to play Kiriko, right? And from that perspective, you get exposed to these new things, and then ultimately those become your characters. And luckily there are always ones that are bubbling up in the meta, things that are being talked about, things that are easy to employ and play. So that's one thing I noted. Sometimes it's a little bit of a coin flip. Sometimes you get Lucio Mercy on one team, but on the other team you all of a sudden are looking at something really easy to execute and really good at this level. I've been casting a lot of Soldier 76 plus Reaper with something like a defensive Sigma, maybe even a Reinhardt getting in or Smash Mouth, and then you have 2 independent healers. That's been a dynamic that I think is a perfect balance between what is meta and what is really easy to do and strategize and play around.
Yeah, I've seen a ton of Reaper across the high school leagues I've been casting as well. It's certainly a very popular one. Junkrat also has been popular just because the Riptire has the ability to steal the play a game away from anybody. But, you know, I love my Moira and my Bastion, so I like to see them out there on the battlefield. Sombra, I think, with those recent nerfs, hasn't been as popular, not being able to permanently be invisible, which I'm okay with because Sombra has annoyed me from my, the entirety of my career in Overwatch. So it's nice to see her maybe just take a little bit of a backseat here for a little bit.
Yeah, I feel that Sombra is becoming a lot more skill testing in the adjustments that they made. I think that she could still definitely make a mark, but it's one of those characters where unless you're 100% confident, I wouldn't recommend playing it, particularly as, the season's heating up or getting deeper on into it. You need every win that you can get, Hot Sauce.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you get closer to this postseason, everyone is going to count here, and more importantly, it's just helping you get to that better seed. It might make that playoff run a little bit easier for you, but easy is probably not the best word because there's a ton of talent in here, so it's going to be tough just to make it into the playoffs, and I'm sure no team will have an easy run, so to speak. But yeah, you're right. Every win is going to count from here on out. Those round differentials probably play a little bit of a role here as well. So with that being said, I think we might be able to crack into this one. I'm just, again, looking forward to seeing exactly what kind of compositions we're going to be dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. We are, in fact, on Oasis, as you're talking about. Not going to get juked on that front here. But we're looking at these two teams. I don't know which one is which right now, but we got Mahoraga leading the charge on that blue side with Pride Fox, Navy Kodo, Kinbob 90, I believe, and Quinardo facing off against Mystic Knight, Dat One Crusader, Weapon Master, Ghost Dragon, and Foxy with 3 Ys. That's a good number.
Yeah, there was a couple names on the roster sheet that I was able to write down. Some of them were anonymous, but Mystic Nightfall is on the NewTech side as well as Foxy, so it does look like NewTech will be in red, Lincoln in blue to start things off as we get ready for Oasis, and it's at nighttime. I kind of like a lot of the night maps. I think it's aesthetically pleasing to the eye, a little bit more comforting, and just kind of setting the scene before the chaos gets to be unfolded in front of our very eyes.
Yeah, it really makes all those gigantic, big, glowing projectiles that are really core to the game stand out. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of that just fly across the screen. I don't know. I like to see things during the day. This is my contrast. IRL, I only like going out at night. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the vibes. But in-game, I like when all the colors are bright, pastel. It's my little escape, that I kind of impose upon myself here. Regardless, though, we are going to see exactly what these two teams are going to bring to the table. Do you have any preferences? I know that you don't like Control Point, but I also know you play a lot of different characters. Do you have any preferences for Oasis or this mode in particular for the different roles? What do you want to see?
I'm kind of a comfortability pick guy, and, I like to think in my big head that my skills are good enough so it doesn't matter who I pick, but, I'm a big Moira fan on the support side. I think Moira just applies a ton of heals and damage. You can really bounce that healing orb around and take some early engagements yourself. You just have to be, I think good Moiras hold on to that fade to the very last moment, because if they see that fade early, they have the capability of really being able to punish. I love Bastion as well. We are going to start off on the map here with that launch pad off to the right side there as well. I guess depending on which side you're pressing from, right or left. But a lot of teams we see like to take that high ground initially and look for that first battle, look to win that first fight from the high ground before they push into the point here.
Yeah, and this is that city center, I believe is what you called it earlier. So just trying to get all those maps underway. University is the one that I never win. That's the one indoors. And then we've got the gardens as well, but I also never win. I usually somehow end up 1-2 on this map every freaking time I queue up for it, no matter how much I enjoy it. It's very much a curse. Looking at the two compositions so far, obviously there's still a little bit of time for people to swap up. And, sometimes you just want to get those fun little emotes out before the game begins. But we are getting some of those dynamics that you were elucidating there, Hot Sauce, notably Mystic Knight is going onto the Moira, and it looks like that is in fact going to be what is locked in here. Going alongside the Juno, what I love is that we have main and flex healer for either side, a lot of burst healing, a lot of consistency to push forward, but one of the big variables here is going to be Ghost Dragon on this Malga. This is a character that requires a lot of resources from the healer, so I imagine Foxy is going to be kind of a cash tap hit to this player. Mystic Knight maybe going for some assassinations versus the like of Quinaru on this Ana.
Now we got the Bastion and the Reaper there as well, as both of these teams not really messing around with the high ground too much right now, just looking to fight around the point for the time being. Someone here in the background as Maga looks to make a pay. King's going to be the first to fall. Quinaru will fall here as well, and some early picks could lead to disaster here. Sigma still standing, but for how long, as they just clutch things up. The final member is the tank. Reaper here in the back line, peppering in the damage, so they'll complete that team kill, and kind of with relative ease for the time being.
Already we're seeing some swaps come through. Very interested to see that Pride Fox is going over to the Zenyatta. This is going to be a pick that really requires solid positioning, and you aren't being given that much space by virtue of getting onto the point early in this one. NewTech High School, representing the red team, have the ability to just infringe so much upon long sight lines that this character really usually benefits from. Do have a little bit of a tech issue, but this gives us a bit of time to currently assess the situation. Right now, Hot Sauce, the 30% over to the red squad side is such a good start for them, and you're also seeing the ult charge advantage.
Yeah, luckily for them, Mystic did lag out, so they have to get Mystic back in here, which means that Mystic is going to restart from spawn side. So they will have a little bit of a player advantage if they're able to push onto the hill. Unfortunately for them, they didn't get a lot of value out of Genji in that first fight, and I love to see the Bastion, but Genji is somebody that can eat Bastion alive. Goes into that tank form, you're able to reflect. Maga, another one that likes to throw the hailstorm of bullets downfield that you could potentially reflect. So I think Genji maybe needs to do just a little bit better job of lurking in the background here, waiting for them to pop one of those and looking to reflect all that. But at the same time, if you have an opening to get back there to look for that Juno or that Moira, then that's certainly the case. But other than that, it's going to be tough to backline. You have that Reaper to deal with as well, who's kind of going to be in your own backline. Zenyatta, not a lot of mobility there as well, so Reaper potentially could look to pick on them.
Yeah, right now what I really need to see out of the side of Lincoln is to use the characters that I think are good at holding space to take space. That's a tough dynamic to have at hand. Usually what you're seeing is Sigma is planting his feet on the ground, which is odd to say because he's floating, but from there he is holding the line, right? Like that's why you're seeing him so much on defender side when you go to say a push map or something like that. And so the dynamic at hand is that we could be seeing a swap, of course, coming out of Lincoln, but I really think they need to give it another go here. And what I want out of some of these more dive-oriented assassin characters like the Genji, or even this Soldier 76 if you want to play him sneakily, is tangible damage early that causes Foxy to be scattered alongside the other supports who's still trying to load back into the lobby. If you could get them out of the equation and just have Malga face tank a bunch of damage, you lose a lot of resources, and from there, NewTech can crumble, but the timer is ticking right now. We talked about how important that first take was, and it's already been established in a great way by NewTech.
Yeah, and also, you know, with Genji, you want to dive that back line, but you really don't have any help there. You don't have a Doomfist. You don't have people with a lot of mobility here. So, you know, you're really kind of stuck on your own there. And I'm not exactly sure what happened, if the game maybe got restarted accidentally or something, but we got Mystic back in. Unfortunately, that first submap was not finished. It was only 30-0, and it does look maybe that we're alluding to go to a different submap and start over.
Ooh, interesting that this is the case. Well, this is going to be a redo for Lincoln, and notably, they have gathered information about what NewTech wants to play as a composition. That could be very important here. Doesn't look like they're actually going to vary things too much on either side. Of course, there is still some amount of time for the picks to come through, so we're going to have to see what the dynamic is.
Yeah, they are opting to maybe go with that Cassidy instead of the Genji here, but for the most part, at least for the time being, it does appear everybody remaining to be about the same here. So about 5 seconds here, that imaginary wall will fall. They'll head to push toward the center here and fight around the control point. And this is that enclosed map that you talk about. Not a lot of room to work with here. So a pretty in-your-face style duke it out on this control sub.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Both of these teams beginning to enter into the fray here. Notably, still going to be a first touch for the side of NewTech High School. They're going to be able to buy that space, now fight off of those walls, get a lot of cover on their side, and already it's going to be King Bob and Quinaru going down, folding quickly. That's a very worrying start for this because it is just a replay of what we saw from before. Even with the adjustments coming through, there's no answer for that one Crusader, who assassinates Pride Fox and slinks on out in his shadow form. Sun comes out with the big rock. Actually is going to get dropped here by the Sigma. Maharaga doing the best that he can to try to stabilize things, but yet again, it is percentages ticking up in favor of NewTech.
Yeah, and it was a nice pick there by Sigma to continue forward, but we talked about Reaper maybe being able to punish that Zenyatta in the background, the mobility not really there, and now it's Soldier up top from the high ground, raining down a hailstorm of bullets. King Bob will find Mystic Knight in the mix, but Mauga unfortunately will go down here as well, and maybe after a little bit of a stumble start here, now we see NewTech, Lincoln having a little bit of success as they'll be able to capture the point.
And like I said, given their team composition, getting to the point was the hard part. They should be able to hold this relatively well. There's a lot of damage coming out of the red side, but NewTech has tried to keep themselves together here, and that one Crusader went too deep, gets picked off. That means that there's a lot of time on the clock by which blue team is going to continue to have a man advantage. Maharaga going low. Quinaru got to be at the back here. Not a lot of healing coming out of the Moira and Zenyatta combo. That is the one pain point that we can see NewTech try to push off on, but they do stabilize for the time being. King Bob going to go back up. Navy Kodo actually putting their health pack pretty far forward, so Maharaga continue to buy space for their team. And now they got the triple lift started off with their ultimate here. Ghost Dragon trying to answer right back, firing, pushing forward, now right on top of the Sigma. Rock not going to connect for the time being. Pride Fox and King Bob already dead. Mystic Knight going to go down on the far side. Ghost Dragon incredibly low, and now they've lost both of their healers. Weapon Master has to slink back to safety, and that means that for the time being, Blue Squad is attempting to hold. However, as it takes over through that one Crusaders push, we will finally see NewTech get back on 51% for Lincoln High School.
Yeah, Maharaga had let the melody sing. Unfortunately, it was a short tune as Lincoln NewTech had all of the answers here. That one Crusader able to find King Bob here, a pick again without the tank around, and unfortunately here for Lincoln, they are staggering in just a bit. We're going to see that they lose the Moira and the Cassidy here, and with time ticking away, it's really just not the best move here. You want to make sure that you regroup with the team, give your team the best possible positioning here, and we will see the Transcendence come in to help buy some time, and now finally getting a little bit of leeway.
Another re-push. This is a good job using Quinaru's ultimate, the Coalescence, in order to slowly mow down members. Ghost Dragon stays alive, but he's the only one alongside Foxy to do so, and he is going to be mobbed up. Pride Fox gets out just a sliver of health at their back, but that will be enough for blue team to recover, and Lincoln High School is yet again going to get the point, and not a moment too soon. Now 83% for NewTech High School means that this is going to come down to a single fight.
One single fight left here, potentially two, if Lincoln can continue to win them, but Sigma, again, you don't often see Sigma on some of these control point maps like this one, but certainly having some success here. Juno, look at the pop in. That one's going to find the first one. The Coalescence coming out from Mystic to find Maharaga as well with the tank down. That could spell trouble. Bastion still has an ult. Juno not far away. On the other side of things, really only Soldier is about the only one that's close to that ult as well.
All right, well, Navy Kodo is going to walk back in here. They need to try to fight, looking to just maybe die in time to get one more reset, but now he's staggered out from the rest of the team, 99% into overtime. We will see Lincoln High School able to make the push back. Weapon Master and Mystic Knight dead. This could actually be their chance into this one, as Maharaga is going to attempt to buy more space for their team. King Bob is now dead. Navy Kodo back into this one. Tactical Visor going to be activated. Foxy and Ghost Dragon are gone. That one Crusader may also fold as well. Weapon Master and Mystic Knight are the last two left alive, but we will see the recapture. Lincoln High School with one more shot at life.
One more shot to go, and really just one more big fight territory for both of these teams. Whoever can win this next engagement here should come out the victor. As we saw that overtime fuse lit. Just a little bit of percentage left to go, but they need to find a way to get on and contest here, as Quinaru is going to find the first pick on the Foxy, and it was Lincoln who's been down, now having some success. The overtime fuse is lit, and Maga comes stamping in here as well. We see the Transcendence come out. Navy able to find another pick on the Bastion. Ghost Dragon dangerously low here as well, as we hear the artillery form come out, but Soldier is doing the damage, and Yada will find one. Maharaga gets one as well, and after stumbling here in the beginning, beginning. In both of these first initial sub-maps, somehow Lincoln able to come out on top 100-99.
I love how close that was. What a great showing to start things off. A volley from Lincoln High School. NewTech maybe feeling a little bit ill at ease given the dynamic that we saw earlier. You know, they took that first point that no longer exists, and now we're right back to even. Lincoln High School adjusted beautifully, and with the battle lines being drawn, NewTech need to try to tie it up here on Gardens.
And again, we don't typically see a lot of Sigma in these situations, but I think Sigma does well because, you know, you're going up against a Bastion and a Maga. So with accretion and everything else, the fact that you're able to kind of eat up some damage for a shield as well certainly has benefited him here in some of these latter fights. So we'll see if they can keep it consistent here. They need to get one more to close out this first sub-series.
All right, well, we are seeing far side underground approach upon the point here, and that's rough. Quinaru was for some reason working as point man, shifting forward, didn't have the utility to get out of the situation, so trades very much going in favor of the red squad right now. NewTech High School coming out with a vengeance. A 2K from Ghost Dragon to start things off. Knock up inside of the small room. Maharaga trying to stabilize, throwing down the shield, and Malga gonna try to force right past it, and this is exactly where this tank likes to shine. Point taken already, and I think that Lincoln High School needs to reassess their comms, because Moira emerging like that all alone led to an easy pick and then a cascade forward in favor of the blue team. King Bob is picked on the backline though, notably, so right now it is a 4v5 in favor of NewTech. Mystic Knight going to go down for the trade. Navy Kodo and company though going worryingly low for the time being. Foxy dead on NewTech's side, and as soon as things felt hopeless, it's going to be Lincoln High School still showing to have a shot on the point here. Maharaga is dead. Navy Kodo as well. But look at the return fire here. Ghost Dragon and Weapon Master have gone down. Reaper just getting out of dodge for the time being, looking for further kills. This should be a take by Lincoln High School to try to bring the percentage points back.
Yeah, NewTech seems to find those first initial picks. Lincoln appears to stagger in, but yet somehow comes out the victor in these battles. So able to capture it before NewTech gets too big of a lead, and now cutting that lead in half as we see Maga dashing onto the site. Navy's going to be first to pick. Weapon Master will get King Bob here as well. Sebastian on Bastion action. Mystic Knight dangerously low as the Melody will be released one more time. The contention is here 2v2 as Maharaga finds Mystic Knight. Traded out nicely after the Zenyatta was picked off. Foxy dangerously low, but will pop the ult on Juno, looking to make a last stand and a fight here. Sigma in the face continues to mitigate the damage. The Rock looking for the stun, not there as the cage fight comes out, and Maga looks to close things down, but somehow Lincoln still here fighting.
Great stuff out of Lincoln. Maharaga has died multiple times early in the fight, but he's always worked as an initiator and gotten immense value, and that means that the rest of the team is able to sweep things up, keep things under control, and right now they yet again have a percentage lead, looking to 2-0 Oasis and put themselves in an immensely strong position for later on in this series. Now, no ultimates available for either side just yet. Navy Kodo coming out of that tactical visor here. It looks like Weapon Master going to be the first one to try to come up to it. King Bob already dead, seemingly knocked off the far side, maybe by the Malga shove there. Didn't quite see that, but Mystic Knight and Ghost Dragon are going to die for the 2-for-2 on either side, and look at the response. Navy Kodo finds the vantage point. Quinaru assassinates Foxy on the back line, and yet again, Lincoln High School find themselves in advantage. They have to try to ward off this Death Blossom, though. That one Crusader going to burn it. 4 kill onto Navy Kodo. So far, it's a 1-for-0 in favor of Red Squad, but Weapon Master needs to do a ton with artillery fire now to try to answer back. Lincoln High School only lost a soldier of 76. With his sprint, he's going to be able to get back to the point relatively quickly here. Here comes a fire from above. Weapon Master trying to open up on the point. King Bob dead. Quinaru as well. Prifax is already gone. That should be enough for NewTech to restabilize.
Yeah, and you know, in the previous battle, it was NewTech who got to 99 first, and Lincoln was able to bring it back. So NewTech trying to give them a little taste of their own medicine, but they're going to have to win most likely 2 big battles here unless they have a very elongated fight here. So going to have to stand tall. Unfortunately for them, they only have 1 ultimate to work with at the moment. And really on the other side of things, Zenyatta, Sigma, the only 2 that are close.
All right, deep fight inside of this choke point. This didn't go too well for Lincoln High School the first time around, and they're going to lose King Bob again early in this one. That one, Crusader and company going low, but Mystic Knight sees this, fires off the Coalescence, doing a great job keeping everybody alive, and in fact, with the tail end of the beam, manages to force out the crucial ultimate from Pride Fox CC. Maharaga going to respond, fire off their own as well. Ghost Dragon low, does get picked here. Lincoln High School yet again turn a losing fight on its head, dragging things out for long enough to get everybody back up. Quinaru picked early in this one, but with Ghost Dragon dead, there's no front line by which NewTech High School can try to answer back. Still, Pride Fox is dead, King Bob is dead too, and it's a miracle play off the back of Down One Crusader and company, as now he forges forward to try to kill the Soldier 76, finds it, and is now bobbing and weaving away from the Sigma projectiles. Fox around the far corner trying to whittle them down alongside the Reaper, but now it's the DPS of NewTech High School going low. Overtime ticked over by both of these sides at 99% each. Here comes the orbital laser from Foxy to try to stabilize their team. Down One Crusader picks up Quinaru. Maharaga's dead as well. King Bob going to fall. There's no front line available. NewTech High School ties it.
Well, you know, I said it before it kicked off. NewTech was the first to 99 in the previous one. This time it's Lincoln and NewTech able to give them a taste of their own medicine. It just goes to show you that all of these students are very determined. They trudge through the trenches to battle back into this one, and now we're all tied up yet again. And back to that initial first submap that we had seen when we had those technical issues, we saw that NewTech was able to get a nice 30% lead and was still winning the fight. It was Lincoln that was set back on a respawn when that disconnect happened. So it'll be interesting enough that we get to make it back here for the third and final match of this first subset series.
Capture the objective.
Love City Center. So many different angles he can play off of. Battle lines here are oftentimes incredibly fluid. Look at the speed boost being used early here for NewTech to try to get onto the point first. I think it's incredibly valuable on this, but Quinaru is yet again playing super aggro on this Moira, just trying to zone away members like Foxy. Weapon Master incredibly low in this trade, just going to get melted in an instant. Quinaru, though, also in a tough position here, will be able to get out, burning that shift. That One Crusader will also use a Shadow Form to get to safety. Maharaga's worryingly low in this situation, but Ghost Dragon is dead, and so I guess I prefer being Lincoln High School in this situation. That being said, NewTech still has touch on point, was trying to tack that percentage up, can't quite do it, and now the cap will be had by Lincoln to start us off.
And Lincoln able to start off. This is the first sub-map that they were able to take the first point here initially and find percentage early. It's been NewTech in the past here. That one dangerously low. David's going to find Foxy, and without a support, things get equally more difficult. Weapons, though, able to trade back at least on one of the DPS as they continue to fight on the point. Ghost Dragon finding Zenyatta here as well. The Rock will come in and drop him, but momentarily, dangerously low. Maharaga coming out on top yet again, continuing to hurl these boulders, carrying the team on his shoulders. Now 30% the contention is here, but they're doing it without a tank, and they have to be careful about staggering.
Yeah, absolutely. High tempo for both of these teams. Right now, advantage still to be had by Lincoln High School, but Maharaga a little bit isolated. Foxy finding a great vantage point to keep both DPSs topped off. That's going to be turret form started up by the Bastion. Foxy taking to the skies here, continuing to work as the frontliner alongside Weapon Master. Here comes Maharaga, though, who's going to bring the buy. Crashing down, and Foxy overextended it well on that play. It's going to be 2 off of the Sigma Ultimate. Navy Kodo follows through off the alley-oop, and even as Pride Fox CC dies, it doesn't matter. This could be a clear shutout at the end here for Lincoln High School. Quinaru getting the Coalescence there at the end just to add some salt to the wound.
Yeah, I don't know if they necessarily needed to expend that ult, but they do. Luckily for them, they have Soldier, who has the tactical visor ready. Sojourn not far behind. Zenyatta with the Transcendence as well. On the other side of things, almost everybody ready to have that ult on the NewTech side. This next battle is going to be a good one.
Absolutely. Tactical visor burned early in this one, though. Navy Kodo getting a crucial pick. King Bob also popping ultimate. Will be able to get one on the fadeaway before Foxy takes them down, but there's still the Death Blossom available with Mystic Knight able to keep people topped off the Coalescence of her own. This is certainly not over for Lincoln High School, who have burned everything except for the Transcendence, but they don't need to. The stagger was enough. NewTech just couldn't find a rallying point.
couldn't get in there, and after 299 to 100 games, we see 100 to nothing as they come out big. The play of the game is going to head on over to Maharaga, who has been absolutely nutty on the Sigma. Going to come off the alt, as the melody has been sung, finding 2 on that alt as well, a support and a DPS. Navy, who's been playing lights out on the Soldier, collects 1 during that play as well, and Lincoln able to take map number 1 here in this best of 3 as we get ready for some hybrid. Of course, that losing squad, NewTech, will be able to pick that map here in hybrid. And I gotta wonder, are we gonna go back to Kings Row yet again?
Kings Row does seem to be the classic, and you know, there's something to be said about not only comfort for heroes, but also comfort for maps. So it could definitely be what we see here, Hot Sauce. But yeah, to look at the end of that game, Lincoln High School looked fantastic coming out of that. Now, of course, NewTech clearly has firepower on their side, but I think what I really got to credit Lincoln for was finding ways to adapt given the situations that they were in from match to match, right? In the first map, we saw this push by NewTech where I believe that they got to point first. Lincoln High School, though, was able to reconnoiter and find angles in with what is usually a composition that can't find those kinds of aggressive pushes. Then, of course, second point, as close as it was, went in favor of NewTech, but still a strong fight on either side. I think Lincoln maybe over-indexed into like fighting and choke points where Mauga is strongest, but that third point showed that they had gotten all the jitters out. They knew exactly how to push up against NewTech, and right now, what I'm looking for is Lincoln to continue that trend, while NewTech GCs to sand over a few rough edges here and there in order to come to victory. For instance, when we looked at that play of the game, we saw the death of Foxy, and we saw the death of Weapon Master, and I was praising them for how aggressively they were posturing, but the rest of the team wasn't there, and therefore Maharaga was able to isolate, divide, and conquer. So if you're able to turn that around, get a little bit more of a coordinated push going, that could be our angle in to see us go to a third decisive game.
Yeah, and it's about to get really interesting, Nyarko. NewTech has a player that has to leave. They have a bus they cannot miss to get home. Talk about great sportsmanship. Lincoln said, you know what? We'll play in a 4v4. Go ahead and drop one of ours out. We're feeling great. So interesting enough, that's what we're going to see. They have agreed to a 4v4. So again, I mean, hats off to Lincoln for being willing to do that. I mean, this is technically at that point a win in the bag when you go a 5v4, especially in a game like Overwatch. Every role really matters. So, you know, hats off to Lincoln for making this a little bit more exciting for us. It does look like they are going to go to Kings Row. I saw some talk in the chat about maybe playing with no tanks as well. It'll be interesting to see which role gets left to the wayside, but nonetheless, I'm actually really excited for this.
Yeah, no, this is going to be really cool to see. You know, sometimes whenever you see these special concessions being made when you have a pathway to victory in ranked, I get a little bit antsy. I've had a few games where someone leaves and then we decide to do Reinhardt 1v1s to decide who wins the game when we were ahead, and I'm just like, man, why are we throwing away this advantage? But truly, sportsmanship matters a whole lot more here in WSSEA than it does on the fields of battle that is the wilderness of ranked, right? So really love that this is the case. I hope that it's going to be a tanksless game. That being said, I do think that if it is in fact going to be that angle, this is going to be a very attacker-sided map. It's so hard to defend and hold a point if you have 4 hyper-mobile characters just dogpile and try to kill your backline.
And that does look like what was agreed upon. I saw them flashing some of the characters there for the time being. It looked like there was 2 supports, 2 DPSs. So without a tank, things get even more interesting, especially on Kings Row, because that first choke point can be very hard to get through, but usually you want a tank in that position. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Mei come out. Certainly very, very good on this first initial point. Obviously can kind of put themselves on ice in the ice cube there to heal up, as well as even maybe like a Brigitte or something, because they do have that healing with a little bit of that tank action. But I'm just yapping here for no reason, because that is not at all what they're going to opt to go in.
I was going to say, I would love to see something like Lucio Moira on the support role. The demands on healing are a little bit lower. You need to be self-sufficient because you don't have a tank by which to protect you. And Pride Fox is going Zenyatta here. It feels like up against a Reaper, this is just asking to be obliterated time and time again.
Yeah, it's tough. The Discord Orb can be so deadly if your team is able to kind of have that target acquisition, especially if the other team's not that great at breaking the line of sight. So it is an interesting pick. It could breed a lot of damage kind of to add to that DPS, but I agree. I feel like I like the Moira better in this situation. The heals are great, the damage is there, and you have the ability to escape if you need to, as Weapon Master on the Junkrat can open up with the first one on the King Bob.
That's really good. It's so important that you keep your DPS up and you keep them constantly pumped full of heals. Something like Weapon Master on this Junkrat breaks that equation in an instant because it allows for you to 100 to 0 and make it so, well, the support has no real purpose except to work as a secondary DPS. And just look at how rapidly NewTech are able to get upon the point. This is the dynamic I was talking about. We're going to see whether or not Lincoln High School will be able to mirror this when they go on the attack, but right now, this is going to be the first point most likely claimed even as Weapon Master goes down.
Mystic Maharaga finding trades there as we see Maharaga in the background on this Ana, peppering in some shots, and now nobody up here for that contention. A couple members falling off the point here, though, as it does slow down for just a moment's notice, and it does appear that maybe they could find a way to step on and contend just a little bit. Ghost Dragon gonna have to fade away here to safety, and so it looked like they were going to capture that point with ease and begin to push the payload, but somehow Lincoln able to find their way to the point.
I think King Bob on this Bastion is a crucial thing to have. Weapon Master, of course, if he gets direct hits, can melt this character, and he is very immobile. But kind of like the Mei, he works as a pseudo-tank, especially if you have a support that's constantly sitting on them. You cannot raw match the DPS, and when you don't have a tank to draw aggro, this Bastion can just run roughshod over an entire team.
Former Bastion main myself, so I personally love to see Bastion throwing the bullets downfield. Moira in the backfield, looking to top off the rest of the crew. The Riptire will come out, begin to press towards sight. No tank to eat up the Riptire. He'll find a huge double kill. The Transcendence comes in, but unfortunately a bit too late. The numbers will favor NewTech. They should be able to have some success here. They should be able to finish this off and get that payload pushing.
Great job on the repush there by Lincoln High School to even buy the time that they did. Like I said, I imagine this is going to be a similar story for both of the teams when they're on the attacker side, given the 4v4 nature of this one. But still, this is a lot of time on the clock for NewTech to try to push this one in, and we're going to see whether or not Lincoln High School can find a rallying point. One thing to note is that in many cases, you're trying to keep 3 people on the payload for as much as possible to get as much space, because that is the maximum speed you can push it at. Given that that means that you're putting 75% of your team, though, on the stationary point, this is peak time for something like a Junkrat to maybe come out on the defender's side to go alongside King Bob on this Bastion. It's just going to try to open it up and force back multiple members of NewTech.
Trying to force back NewTech a bit here. Mystic Knight is going to find the first pick on the Soldier there, so Soldier not able to release the tactical visor. Bastion and Ana have the ults here as well. They continue to try to make this push forward. Just a little past 80 meters, 3 minutes, 26 seconds on the clock as well. There's plenty of time for them to continue to push this fight. And again, it's just so hard to kind of make a stop here when you don't have a tank.
Tactical visor activating. Navy Kodo back into the fight, able to relocate on this Soldier. He's going to be able to push forward, trying to free fire on the Foxy, but doesn't have the tactical visor anymore, and is unfortunately going to miss versus this airborne character. 1-for-1 right now. Maharaga able to kill Ghost Dragon, who's in turn able to kill Pride Fox CC. Now, right now, things are going to go back to even, but there's 3 ultimates available for NewTech to make this final push to lock in the second point.
Blood is not emotion.
Yeah, plenty of time here still to lock in the second point. You'd like to see him keep that momentum flowing, because in the past here, at least in the control point, they have fizzled out a little bit after they had a lot of success. They have a ton of ults to work with as well. That Coalescence could make that push much easier. And on the side of Lincoln, there's no ults here, and really only one of them is halfway to it. So an opportunity for NewTech, but it will already be kind of slowed down as Weapon Master does get a trade, but maybe first to find the pick.
There comes the Death Blossom dropping in from above. Ghost Dragon going to die for his efforts, but he picked off Pride Fox in turn. King Bob trying to get towards that ult charge. Second point still not crested here as that DPS went too deep for NewTech, and they are going to have to try to get back as a 4-stack in order to push this one in. This is a rough point of contention right now. Credit to Lincoln High School for such a solid defense.
Solid defense, standing strong for the time being. Still have to do it for another minute and 50 here as Weapon Master Trying to get some leeway here up with that Junkrat. One thing I've noticed about the NewTech side, though, is they don't really switch off of those compositions. They don't really work toward any counter picks. They just kind of stick with what they know, and working for them at the moment as they do find the pick here onto Navy. Now we see that payload beginning to be pushed here just a little bit. Realistically, not too far to go to hit this second checkpoint and add a little more time.
Yeah, Transcendence buying space for the time being. Pride Fox in an interesting position here, playing pretty far forward, getting drained by the Mystic Knight's orb even as they fall. That's another dynamic to watch out for. Any character that can have presence beyond death is incredibly valuable when you're inherently down a player. Yet again, the push is going to be stalled, and look at how aggressive Maharaga is able to be. Navy Kodo gets the fade away. Oh, that is a rough shot there for Foxy as Ghost Dragon is going to go down to King Bob's ultimate. 48 seconds left on the clock. I don't know, given the low percentages, if NewTech is just going to be able to take this as a raw 4v4. Navy Kodo trying to stagger the team here, using the ultimate proactively, is actually going to be able to kill Weapons Master. Now, on top of the Moira, shift across, a little bit confused for a time there. May allow for Mystic Knight to get back towards safety. Low health, Weapon Master going to be able to respawn. And now here comes the further push. Ghost Dragon trying to get on top of King Bob, but yet again the Bastion damage is just completely backbreaking NewTech High School, going to be relegated to spawn for the final 15 seconds.
Yeah, they had 4 ults they used in that previous engagement and still couldn't find the push, which is a little bit scary. Navy continues to stagger out. The rest of the crew will finally be chopped down here. That's Mystic Knight who goes down to King Bomb, but Navy still finding these picks. It just has been a minute. Soldier, again, just because you have that self-sufficient heal there's so much that you can do and kind of alleviate some of that pressure on your support to keep everybody up top, tip-top shape.
I don't know exactly what needs to happen outside of my advice being comfort is all good. I like the fact that Lincoln High School and NewTech were able to get as much utility as they did out of their characters on either side, but I'm starting to feel like this is the point where you need to begin to defer towards a meta of your own creation. Obviously, 4v4 isn't a popular Overwatch genre. If anything, we want to add a person back, right, Hot Sauce?
No. I'm one of those people that don't like the 6v6.
I see.
I prefer the 5v5, so... and okay. I do get a lot of guff for that, but you know, I grew up on some paladins, so don't hate me.
No, I totally get you. I mean, back in the day, you had to buy Overwatch, right? So paladins was a pretty nice option on that front.
Well, nonetheless, it's been exciting. Again, a little bit scary here for me for NewTech, just because they had 4 ults, not very far to go for that second checkpoint, but weren't able to quite get it. And honestly, the whole crew of Lincoln is playing very well together, but for me, Navy has been a huge difference maker on this Soldier. Obviously, King Bob on that Bastion has been doing a great job of just keeping that damage flowing. We will see Ghost Dragon opt to go to Bastion as well, so I do like a little bit of the mirror match coming in here.
You know, I really actually like Lincoln's comp in the context of 4v4, but why are we playing such a stationary and immobile set of characters on offense? That's my real question right here. On attacker's side, they are going to have to be quite grouped up here. Navy Kodo anti-healed early, will be able to sustain through that. Vantage point being found by King Bob, trying to open up, will actually drop down, looking for even more, tearing through the enemy team. Ghost Dragon is going to fall to Navy Kodo, Weapon Master gone as well. That should be enough to get onto the point, but King Bob, a little bit too far forward there, couldn't get healed by Maharaga or Pride Fox.
Yeah, that Discord orb has just been tough to deal with, and with Bastion on the other side already melting so quickly makes it his job that much easier. Navy able to tip back up here with those heals, backing into the hallway, almost doesn't get there in time, and Mystic will be able to collapse onto the play, finding Navy here as well. Almost able to capture this payload, but not quite to the second tick just yet, as the lamp will go down. King Bob, not one, not two, but the triple kill coming out from King Bob, and Bastion reigning supreme for the time being.
So slightly more time on the clock going into the second point for Lincoln High School. That was about what I expected. I don't think that we are getting a good answer to the Bastion outside of an attempted mirror match. That clearly isn't going Ghost Dragon's way. King Bob is a monster, and you look at what is backing them. Maharaga is doing so much on this Baptiste, right? You have the Lantern as a means to keep this player alive. You have to try to split fire because you can't just take down the lamp when you have a Bastion coming your way. You have to just respect this praise being bought, and that could be enough for Lincoln High School to get a ton of yardage here before we even see the slightest glimmer of true resistance coming out of NewTech High School. King Bob inside of that invincibility field, able to get topped off for the time being. A lot of damage coming through from Weapon Master. Still slinks right back around the corner. Maharaga keeping everybody topped off. Foxy is dead. Ghost Dragon is going to follow, and yet again, Lincoln High School win the exchange.
Yeah, they just continue to win these battles from King Bob to Navy. The whole crew putting in work. Maharaga doing it on the tank in the previous series. Now on the support role, just showing you that they can play multiple different characters, multiple different roles here. And unfortunately, I don't know if they're going to be able to get back in time for one final fight here.
I mean, Lincoln High School is giving them the opportunity. They're not three stacking on point. There we see it finally come down, but Baptiste Window is going to cover the approach, and Lincoln High School will take it 2-0.
2-0, and again, agreeing to drop down to a 4v4 when they didn't have to. So hats off to Lincoln for making it a competitive series here as well and continuing to fight through. NewTech, although they don't quite get the dub here, they get a little taste of the play of the game. That Riptire, as was mentioned earlier, often stealing the play of the game, able to find two, continues to press forward, fighting through that transcendence there. And again, we saw some moments of greatness. Unfortunately, not able to grab the dub today. So congratulations again here to Lincoln High School.
You know what? That was so much fun, Hot Sauce. I'm starting to think that maybe tanks are the problem this whole time.
It was fun. It could be.
Yeah.
You know, we went. That's why I like the 5v5. It's one less tank. These battles don't last for hours and hours, you know, but
neither do the queues. That's the other value of it.
That is true. They are thinking about kind of easing back into that 6v6 though. At least word from Blizzard, we're going to see that a little bit more and more, and if things go well, we could see it back in the competitive series as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out and how maybe some of those decisions do affect these leagues, but nonetheless, we can't complain. It was an exciting night of Overwatch, to say the least.
Absolutely the case. And hey, you know, if we do in fact go back to 6v6 and any colleges are trying to scout out players to enter onto their team, WSSEA is the place for you, man. Maharaga did an incredible job on that Sigma, playing that tank role there for the side of Lincoln, at least in that first game. And they clearly are an all-around Overwatch specialist with incredible play across a wide variety of characters there. We saw the Ana come out and bring a lot of value to the table. I believe that they swapped to the Baptiste there at the end as well. It was a great showing overall, and congratulations to them on a very honorable victory, you know. And I'm glad that the first match at the very least was so darn close, Hot Sauce, because really that's what WSSEA is all about. Everybody growing together, but also showing their stuff against one another and proving just how tight and how competitive high school esports can be.
Absolutely. And there's no losers, right? There's winners and there's learners, and that's what we do. We learn from this and we learn how to get better and progress throughout that regular season. But unfortunately, that is going to be all for us today. Of course, we'd like to take a moment to thank ZOTAC, LANFest, and Seattle Built PCs, as well as everybody behind the scenes here with WSSEA and everybody, Ben, Jaden, Taylor, behind the scenes helping make the stream run so smoothly. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you, and of course everybody watching at home, whether it's the students, the teachers, or the parents. We appreciate everybody showing up, showing out, and showing that love and support. So, but unfortunately, that is all for us today. We do have some Street Fighter 6 tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific. We hope to see you then. I'm Hot Sauce. That's Nyarko. You guys have been amazing. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 4.